Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Lots of people have been asking me, why do I carry so many bags while I'm flying, and what's actually in the bag or bags. So today I thought I will, while I'm got time, no flying and nothing's happening, and while I'm in lockdown, I thought I will share with you what's actually in my flight bags. Hopefully that'll give you an insight, and you will know next time you see me on one of my videos, flying videos, you will know what's in the bag. Right, even though the aircraft in the cockpit we have a life jacket, I always carry my own regardless. You don't have to, but I like to carry my own despite one being available for me while I'm flying. So there's another one there, and it's got the beacon and the ELT, which is a beacon that you press once you're in the water, so the Coast Guard or the emergency services can find you, know where you are exactly, and obviously it's got a light in there. So that's, I carry that regardless. And I've got two bags I use. So the first one is not so important, but I still take it with me anyway. So here I have some Sharpie pens, normal pens, markers, pretty much everything you need to write. So Sharpies, markers and pens. And this is my folder I have, which has got some documents and some details, and I always carry this with me, even though I know these things, just in case I do have everything to hand should I need to use them. And some clear folders which I put my stuff in. Most importantly, a map. So wherever we are flying, we do have maps. Even though we got digital GPS and navigation systems, should it go down, we revert to how I started to learn to fly, by actually following where you are and a route back. So I do have that. And I also carry with me, again we don't need to, but I carry with me a control zone, which is CTZ, which is called, of an aerodrome or an airport. In this case it's Normandy, which was my last flight before I got locked down. And I always carry that. That gives me all the information that I need, just in case, just before landing or during approach, the systems go down, then I always have this to hand. And obviously when I'm flying, this doesn't stay in the bag, it actually stays with me on my knee board. And if I show you, I've got a few other stuff in here. So one's the control zone map, the other one is the approach information for the airport. So it tells me, well, what altitude, where should I be reporting, and all that kind of information. And then the runway information, so number of the runway, the length of the runway, all the information that I need. And then lastly, once I've landed, obviously I need to know where to go, so that's the taxi parking information for the airport. So should the GPS and the navigation system fail, then I know how to land, or where to land, and how to taxi to the airport. Again, I carry the flight plan, but printed version of it. So again, should we find that we are equipment terminal functioning, then I know the route, the track I need to fly, altitude, speed, and how long it's going to take for me to fly each point until I arrive at my final destination. Again, that's a chart of the airport that I'm going, the taxi markings, and the airport information, and also this is the departure information, which is Shoreham Airport, which I fly, and also I take the same printed reverse. So coming back from Shoreham coming back from Normandy back to Shoreham, because we don't want to be stuck somewhere just in case we can't get any help with our technical people, because some aerodromes we fly into, it might be night, we have to then fly back, or there's no people who can help us with our technical issues that we may face. Obviously the aircraft's engine is got an issue, then we will not fly, but something like where our equipment is slightly malfunctioning, we have a paper backup, then we will still fly as long as we make the decision it is safe to. This is my next bag. It's got tons and tons of stuff in it, and they're all important and I always use. So that's the iPad, and I use for our navigation and flying. And should this fail, or there's an issue, then we revert back to our paper charts. Then I have aircraft checklist that tells me the type of aircraft I'm flying, what to check. So it's got pretty detailed things, taxi check, power checks, pre-takeoff check, and then once you check it during your flying, then after landing, shutdown checks, and obviously hopefully I would never need it, but in case of an emergency, then we have some emergency instructions there for us to follow to troubleshoot. So that's that. Obviously iPad charger, most important. You don't want to be with no power. I've already shown you this, but I normally keep it on my kneeboard while I'm flying. You will see that I can, even though I've got that iPad on, I can still follow it just in case there is a malfunction. That's the bits that I used to put my iPad in when I go flying. So basically it's quite a good bed that goes in there, and that goes onto the yoke or the stick. So it's always in front of me while I'm flying. Whatever I do, the iPad and the things go with it. That's my knee pad, which obviously I use when I'm flying. It's a Velcro bit, quite a handy one. It goes in the knee. It stays, so my hands are free. I'm not suddenly dealing with 10, 20 pieces of paper or items all over the place in the cockpit, which is unsafe. Pen that I write my air traffic instructions, and then that goes back in there. So that is always the stuff I always use on every single flight that I do. Night light that we wear in the cockpit, which kind of goes like this.
Look at you!
It's got a red light there. The reason we have a red light is that we don't want the cockpit to be too lit up, which means we won't be able to say things. And again, I only use this should our instrument lighting has a fault. So we've got no lights in the cockpit. That means we can't see the instruments. So I would take this out, put it on, and put the light on, which means wherever I'm looking, with again having my hands free, wherever I'm looking, I'll be able to see, okay, this is the altitude I'm flying, this is the airspeed, okay, everything else is okay. So that's important, and I've used that once when I've had a electrical malfunction where coming back from the Touquet in France back to Shoreham on a night flight, the passengers didn't know anything about it, but we don't want to normally panic the passengers, but I had that on, which was able to assist me in my flight back reading the instruments. Right, headset, very important. There's one in the aircraft provided, which I use, but there's also a spare one I take with myself, just in case. You never know should the one in the aircraft is faulty, I will use this one because it's very important. I can hear the air traffic controllers and they can hear me. Otherwise, we are in big problems. So there's always a spare one I carry, despite one being in the aircraft. My logbook. This has been with me since the day I started to fly back in 2013. My first flight, 29th July 2013, and since that you will see I got pages and pages and pages of flying, racking up the hours in there. This is a legal requirement that every flight I do, I have to fill in the details, date, aircraft type, aircraft registration, pilot in command, which is myself, departure airport, departure time, arrival airport, arrival time, and then every so often, once that page is filled, we add those hours. And as you can see that I've done tons and tons, and this is a legal requirement that's filled in after every flight. And obviously I use the same pen so that there is no different colors and different things in there. It's like your passport or your driving license. I don't want to be losing it. That's a legal requirement for us to carry during our flight, because we can be asked to, we can be checked or requested to provide it at any of our airports. Again, I know you've seen my backup details, charts, and everything else, navigation plots if the iPad fails. I'm that cautious with my flight. I have a backup to a backup, so another set just in case that goes down. I lose this or I drop it at the back. That is a backup to a backup, because you never can be sure, so I always do 2 sets before I'm flying. And again, a map that's in there, and some listening squawks. This is what's called a listening squawk that we use when we're flying over some aerodromes, where we would put 0013 if you're flying over Luton, and we will tune in our radio 129.550, but we will not talk to the controller, so the controller can see us squawking 0013 on his radar, and he knows if he needs to talk to us, and he will talk to us, and he knows that we'll be on our frequency. And obviously we've got Gatwick, Southampton, Bournemouth, wherever. But I take that with me all the time because you don't fly through them often, and I don't want to forget them, so I always take them so I can use the squawks without having too much of a problem. So that's empty there. Let's see what's in here. Oh yes, you've got to look good before you can fly good. So my shades, sunglasses if I'm flying, and obviously I wear glasses, so I carry another pair. We're legally required to carry 2 pairs just in case I break one while I'm in a destination. So that's that. What else we got? So we got my CAA license. Again, that goes in with this. This is required that I carry this whenever I fly, and often asks in there. So I got this, my CAA license, civil aviation license, and I got my medical, which tells whoever is checking me. I've only been checked twice in 6 years, but sometimes you do get an awkward person that who will see you and ask you, can I please see your license and your medical, and they will check that I'm medically fit to fly. Earplugs while I'm in the apron. Aircraft noise, it's quite loud, and you don't want your eardrums to get hurt, so I always carry a spare one. Dusted torch. Again, while at night time in some airfields there isn't much light, so you use that to do a check of the outside of the aircraft, like tires and the structure of the aircraft. And obviously with COVID you cannot never be safe, so some extra pairs of gloves and a mask. And what else we have in here? Power bank, and a wire for the power bank, just so that in case you can't find anywhere to charge your iPad or something happens with the power, you can use this to power your iPad. So you got good use of the whenever we are on the apron, we got to wear this high vis. Again, that's a legal requirement in most airfields. We have to wear that. Without that, we cannot enter the apron or the tarmac. Passport, and as you can tell, I use it so much that the cover has faded. And keys for whatever the aircraft you're flying, you take that with you. So that is it. So now you know what's in my flight bag or flight bags, and whenever you see me uploading my flying videos, you see me carrying 2 of these, then you know what's inside. Thank you for watching. Hope you found it interesting. Please subscribe, so whenever I upload any new videos, you'll be the first to know. Thank you very much.